let's take a quick look at how we can configure the custom metadata panel to support metadata coming from AEM assets. And then we'll see how we can round trip some of that metadata between InDesign, where we're using Adobe Asset Link to connect to assets that are in AEM, and AEM itself. So first off, let's set up a panel that has AEM assets in it. We already have this. I built one here, but I want to go and look at it and show you the way that we configure this. So if we go into Preferences and we go into the View Editor, the one we want to edit here is AEM Test, but you'll see how each of these properties are configured as we go through this. The first of these is AEM tags, and this is something that a lot of customers use. They might call it something else, and in fact in our instance of AEM we don't call them AEM tags, but instead they're called field label. So what I'm going to do is just call this field label, but it is AEM tags is what it is. Great. Well, where do we get the tags? In AEM, there's a whole configuration tool that you can use to create these tabs. But here what we want to do is to import them. So what I can do, if I have Asset Link installed, and I do, you can see it right there in InDesign. Actually, let me make my cursor a little bit bigger. All right, so you can see it right there in InDesign. I have Asset Link, and we'll go and look at that in a little bit. But what I can do is to load from AEM. And if I click that, it's now loaded in the taxonomy from AEM. And you can see that some of these are enabled, right? Category apparel is enabled, department is enabled, Heartland is enabled, and so on. So some of these things are enabled and some of them aren't. We're going to leave it like this. I'm going to add asset properties though. And then I will load those. And this is now created and configured Asset Link. It has configured the tags, the AEM tags for us. And then we'll just say save. You can always, if you have them already configured, I'll go back here just for a second to show you, you can update the tags. What that will do is reload from wherever they were from. Or if you are unable to load from AEM, what you can do is to go and pick up the tags from AEM, and then you can load them from file. So you've got several different ways of doing that. We're hoping that you'll use this load from AEM button, and that would be really helpful. It certainly is a lot easier than it has been in the past. So we've got a few other components I want you to see. One of these is called AEM Smart Tags, and we'll pop that open for a second. It's really easy. It's just called AEM Smart Tags. You can call it up, and it really has not much. There's no advanced settings. That's it. It's going to go and fetch the smart tags out of AEM, but what it will allow you to do is to promote those smart tags to keywords. Same thing can be done here with AI keywords. So if your AEM is configured to create AI keywords, you have that same idea where you can build a new component called AI keywords here, and then what can happen is that you can promote them to keywords. So you can see I've got keywords in here already, which is DC subject, and we have our AEM smart tags, we have our AI keywords. So we'll be able to see promotions into keywords as we go along. We have our title that's coming off the asset, but we also have an AI title, again, from AEM. It's going to do that for us. And the same with description and AI description. So these are the things that you can add to your metadata panel here in Custom Metadata that are going to very specifically look at AEM metadata that's coming out of your AEM instance when you have Adobe Asset Link installed. So let's just save this, and then we can close it. There we go. And then we'll say done. And what this will do is reload the panel. So now we are looking at the InDesign document. We have no assets selected in InDesign. We have Asset Link installed, and you can see that we have a bunch of assets that are in our favorites. They're in this folder, James Test, and we'll go look at that in AEM in a little bit. None of these assets are checked out right now. They're just placed onto the document, and that means that there's no local copy. This one is checked out, but it hasn't been placed into this document. So I just want to reiterate that There's no local copy of the document, right? These things don't exist locally. All we have is AEM has placed them in. So let's go and take a look at custom metadata, and we'll select this picture, this tuba guy picture here. And it's going to think for a second, because what it's doing is it's now going to AEM and it is fetching the metadata from AEM and it's displaying that to us. We can see that there is one AEM tag, which has properties orientation portrait. It has no keywords currently attached. There are no AEM smart tags in this asset, but there are AI keywords. And you can see there's a bunch of AI keywords there. There's an AI title that has been proposed, and then there's also an AI description that's been proposed. Let's take a look at this asset in AEM just to confirm that that is what we see. So if I switch over to AEM, let me get to it. We'll just say save and close. It's going to go back to my folder. Here we are, and this is the one. So if we go and take a look at that, we can see that there's no title, there's no description. There is this field label. And then if we go into look at our keywords, you can see that there are, where are they located? Here, there should be keywords here, and there's no keywords, right? So let's just cancel this for now. We'll go back to this in a moment. So if we're in InDesign, what I'd like to do is to promote this AI title. So here's the promote and replace DC title. There it is. I'm going to now commit my change. That has written that change to AEM. Now, if you remember, when we looked at this a moment ago, there was no title. But if I open it now, the title is present because we wrote it directly from InDesign using the Custom Metadata Panel. Just about any metadata that you see here can be read and written back to AEM. There are some exceptions, and we're working on closing those gaps. And these happen to be certain properties that AEM changes when it imports them from the asset. So there are some specific structures, data structures that are in on the assets, and then when they come into AEM, they get flattened. They get these properties get promoted up a level. And so from AEM's point of view, these properties aren't, they're not down in a structure. GPS data, for instance, is in there. So the GPS data that's coming from the asset actually gets changed in AEM and gets reconfigured. So it doesn't align with the way that GPS data was stored before. So we're working on a solution to that and hope to have that in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, let's go back and see what we can do. Let's say I type in a description here and say, people smiling with tubas. And I'll save that. All right, and then we'll go back to InDesign. Right now there's nothing here, right? There's nothing in description. But if I click the sync button right here, what's going to happen is it's now going to go and grab that description from AEM. And I'll say one more time, because this is really important. There is no local asset. There's no local asset. Everything is happening in AEM. Now, let's say I go over to Asset Link. In Asset Link, I could check out this asset, right? So if I go and check out the asset, I always get this error. We'll get that fixed one of these days. The asset has now been checked out. And that means there's a local copy of it. That might be confusing then, because now InDesign could potentially find it. But if I select the asset and go over to the Custom Metadata Panel, it's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I know. It does tell me, that little disk icon says, this is the local copy. All right. So I do know that that's local, and I can, I see that in the interface, but it's still an AEM asset. It's still getting its metadata from AEM. Even if I were to change metadata on the asset, say I were to open this in Photoshop and do some adjustments in Photoshop, if I change the metadata using Photoshop, then it would have to be re-rendered, the metadata would have to be re-rendered when it was re-ingested as a version. If I adjusted the metadata using the custom metadata panel in Photoshop, that wouldn't be necessary because the metadata would already be updated in AEM from the custom metadata panel from Photoshop. If I switch over now, I closed it, we'll crack it back open, and we will go to our top here, and we will switch to the complete stack of IPTC photo metadata. You can also see that we support things like language alternatives, and I'll crack this open because this is a great example of this. I have people smiling with tubas. You might want to include some alt text for accessibility, and so what we can do here is we can just copy and paste it into the place. I can come down here and I can put in, if I knew how to say this in French, I might say, hey, this is French. And for now, I'm going to make it up like I know French, and this is Spanish. But what we've got here is a very specific kind of structure that is called a language alternative structure. This is not possible to view in AEM, but it is possible to read and write the metadata because AEM does support it. So if I now commit my changes, that has written this structure, this language alternative structure with an alt text accessibility plus French and Spanish, that is now in AEM. If I select my document again, I just clicked out here, and this is the whole document, and I come back to this, you'll see it's going to read it. And there it is. If I hit it again, yep, there it is. So this is reading the appropriate data out of AEM. It's stored there. You can't see it in AEM, but you can see it here. And this applies to other locations. So if you can access this asset, say, in Photoshop, and you're using Windows, or you're using Rosetta, you have to have that for the custom metadata panel in Photoshop, then you'd be able to see that metadata in Photoshop. This one is Illustrator. So if we were to go and open this in Illustrator, we could do that through Asset Link, and we could go over here and we could, where is it? This guy right here. So we'll go and check this out. Oh, is that the right one? Yes, it is. Oh, I don't want to initialize the conversion. This is so silly. Okay, it's not what I want to do. But that's Asset Link doing whatever Asset Link does. So we're just going to say don't save. Okay, great. So now it's checked out. And because it's checked out, we can open it in Illustrator. And if I select the, all right, so I'm going to open this in Illustrator over here. Oh, no, it's going to be an Asset Link. So what I want to do is open it. So I've got this right here. I want to open it. So this will open it in Illustrator. No, that's not what I want to do. Well, that's a challenge, right? I want to be able to open this thing in Illustrator and make and work with it there. So what I'd have to do is to go to Illustrator, which I have open. I have to go to Asset Link in Illustrator, which is around somewhere. Here it is. And then I'd have to go to my checked out assets and open it. There's got to be a better way, and there will be a better way. We will make that possible here in the custom metadata panel so that you can go very easily from that asset in InDesign straight to the owning application. So we can open it here. Oh, it's already open. Okay, great. And if I look at my custom metadata panel, let's now close this. I've got to refresh. Oh, sorry. All right, so now let's open it up. There it is. And now you can see, so I've opened it, close it and opened it. There it is. Now I've got all this metadata here that is in AEM, and it even has like a sports tag. If I want to add in additional AEM tags, I could use the this tree if I want to do that. So asset properties, this is kind of square. And we'll say okay. We'll commit the changes. So this is now sent up to AEM. At the same time, if I go back to InDesign and I select away from it and I select it again and then go to custom metadata, we should see in the tags, if we go to AEM test, we should see now that properties orientation square is there, and we added that in Illustrator. So I hope that it's clear that using the custom metadata panel, which is supported in Bridge, in InDesign, in Illustrator, in Premiere Pro, and in Photoshop, you can round trip metadata that you can connect through Adobe Asset Link. And would love for you to give it a try, and we hope to hear your feedback.